How's it going? It's Mike from Roadie Baggers, and today's video is going to be about selecting the right bag for each condition that you're going to throw in. So you don't have to change your throw, and you'll know before you even start a game what bag that you actually want to throw. So today I was throwing these Apocalypse from 724 on these boards. When I was throwing them, I was really liking how they were moving around. I liked how they were sliding on the boards. It really fit my throw. I was throwing all the bags, but these really worked. So what I did was I came inside, just inside the garage here, and I lifted the board up until I found an angle that the bag was going to slide at a slow rate down the board, just like that. I like to do it in 3 or 4 different spots to make sure that, because some places on the board get a little stickier, but that's pretty much what you're going to want to look for. What you're doing is you're beating the coefficient of friction. That's just a technical term for when the bag slides down the board. Easy enough. How do I know what the angle is? I downloaded from the App Store the Pocket Bubble Level. It's free, and put it on your phone. You set your phone flat on the board that you want to test, and then you get your angle. So right now I know that it's a 26-degree angle that Apocalypse is sliding down. So now, let's say now we're at a tournament and I was playing on this board and I really liked the way I was playing. Man, I love that. I love the way I was playing. Now you get transferred to this board. This is vinyl. This is direct print. This is a vinyl board. And now you have to throw on these boards. It's going to be a completely different board condition that you're going to have to throw on. Never mind the different humidity conditions, which also affect the angle that you're going to find yourself here. But it doesn't matter. I know that 26 is what I want. So what you're going to do is not change the angle. You're going to change the bags that you want to play with. So you put this one, say I'm playing on this next game. You put it at 26 degrees, again, with your phone real quick, pop up the thing, boom, 26 degrees. You can stack up your extra bags on the back just to have it so that it's static, so it's stationary and you're not picking up the boards. And then you can test out all your bags. I throw on the sticky side most of the time, so I'm going to test all of my bags on the sticky side. And you can see that this is playing much faster than the direct print boards. So, which one, and here's the Apocalypse that I was just playing on that board. It's gone. So, I actually did this test already, and I know that the frictions are the ones that are going to be closest to what I want to play. They're going to be a slower bag that's going to handle essentially very similar to what the bags did here. And you can tell by stopping at first and then going at a slower rate than the rest of the bags. It's a slower bag, and it's the reason why you have to carry different speeds of bags in your backpack if you have multiple sets. So if I was to play on this board next, I'd throw these, and they would act very similar to what the Apocalypse did on this board, because the coefficient of friction is the same on the sticky side. Granted, on the slick side of both of them, you're not really sure. But that's a quick little tip for you. I'm going to get into it more in this video, more in depth, more with the numbers and everything else, and a little bit of inside baseball. But that's essentially what you can do. Really easy and quick way to figure it out. So we just got finished doing that little test and that synopsis on what we're doing here. This whole thing is just about how to figure out the speed of your bag and which one to pick per game that you're going to play. Every tournament that you're going to play, every game that you're going to play, everything changes, conditions change, and so it's nice to know what bag that you want to use before you even start the game or before you start the tournament, depending on conditions. So when we first started this thing, we did the bag break-in test, and then we wanted to do a speed test as well on those bags. So we broke the bags in 4 different ways, and also we tested all 4 ways, and then we tested it brand new on all 3 of the bags that we did. The Apox, the TC Revolutions, and the Cat 2s. And what we found was they all, as you break them in, the speed tests vary, but it's marginally. So the speeds are going to stay about the same as you're breaking them in. What you're going to get different is the hand feel, the softness, how floppy they are, how hole friendly they are, as you're breaking them in different ways. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. All the numbers reflect that. But what really changed was the bags in between the high humidity, low humidity, high temp and low temp, and between the two different boards, between direct print and between using a vinyl sticker on top of it. Those numbers were all over the place. And so we tried to think of what kind of scale that we could use so that we can do a slide test on them so that we can quantify all of these numbers and try to get it so that even though everybody knows that these things affect gameplay, we wanted to make it so that there was an actual numbers behind it. That's what we did. And we found this scale. We put together this scale. So it starts at 60, and at a 60 degree level, I haven't found one bag. I tried duck cloth and suede. I tried anything to slide at 60 degrees. It's really tough. I haven't found a zero yet. But 60 would be a speed of 0. And then it comes all the way down to 5 degrees, which would be a speed of 11. If it's going to be at 5 degrees and still the bags are going to move at a slow rate down the board, that's going to be an 11. Every degree of angle it goes another 0.2 points on the scale that we all know. So this scale, the speed number, is very similar to what we all usually refer to. If it's a 6-9, then in normal conditions, a 6 would be at a 30-degree angle. A 9 would be, on this scale, would be at a 10.2-degree angle. And this is just a very standardized way of looking at it. So the numbers might be a little bit off from what manufacturers do now, but it goes down or up, as you see, by 0.2 of a value per every degree. So it's a very standardized scale that you can reference, and every one of these different colors is 2 degrees above and below what a number would be. So this is 5.6, 5.8, 6, 6.2, and 6.4. So anything between 28 degrees and 32 degrees, you'd consider what would be a 6 in what we do now. I just want to throw that out there because it's just a scale that we came up with help. So we tried to get help from the ACL. They said that it's all proprietary. They do test the bags and they do get values from the bags. But the problem is it's on a scale of 100 and they don't tell you how they actually test it. There's a push variable that they have in there, and there's a couple other things that they try to do. It may be a straight slide scale, I'm not sure, but after asking them, they didn't want to divulge any information. Understandable, but being that they're one of the bigger governing bodies that handles all this, you would think that they would be a little bit more apt to give out that information so that everybody can have it and test their bags as the bags get older, and even companies would be able to follow suit and fall underneath whatever they would want. But that's not how it is just yet. So kept looking, and what I found was Ultra. Ultra has a great system in place. They do the thing in the 60-degree angle, same thing, right? So at 60 degrees, it's at a 0. That's a great place to start. So that's where we started too. I mean, the only problem is, as it says, a speed rating of 10 will be when it slowly moves down the board at a regular board angle of 10.5. Problem is, a regular board angle isn't 10.5 because of the leeway that the ACL will give you. It can be, the front of the board can be 2.5 inches to 3.5 inches high, and the back of the board can be 11.5 inches to 12.5 inches high because it's plus or minus half an inch on both sides, and so that's gonna move the boards around up or down. So it's not exactly a 10.5. So we just did it straight up from 0 at 60 and just ran it all the way down to 5. So that's where it differs a little bit on the lower end, but very similar. Ultra does awesome. They also do a thing where they test their bags in cold and damp, and they do it in hot and dry. This should be done by every company out there. This is awesome. So this here, I think is the Psycho X that I brought up. So in a cold damp condition, the fast would be a 6, the slow would be a 4 for the Psycho X. In hot and dry, the fast is going to be a 9 and the slow is going to be a 5. And so this is pretty much all of the stuff that you can do on your own, and this is what this video was about. At the beginning, you saw that if you pick it up to a certain degree, and you're going to find that coefficient of friction and it's going to slide, what you're doing is finding what that slide is in these different conditions. Is it cold and damp? Is it hot and dry? Or anything in between? So you're going to know what they're playing like, how it's playing. And especially if you have more than just 1 or 2 bags, if you have 3, 4, 5 bags, 6, 7 that you carry around, you're going to know really what you want to do. I think the angle is 26 that we did for the apox on the direct print board, and we found that the friction was doing the same, sliding at the same on the vinyl. And so you're going to be able to change. You go with your 26 degrees and put all your bags on the board. Whatever one slides nice and slow down the board, that's the one you want. Easy as that. It's a pretty cool concept. Ultra really is onto something, and I really hope that instead of going towards the ACL scale way, I think this is a great scale. I think it's really smart. So this is all the empirical evidence. This is all the numbers that we did. And if it's not seen very clear on here, I can clear it up and post pictures of all of these results. But what it comes down to is it's a vinyl versus direct print, high, medium, and low heat and humidity, and all the different ways that we broke it in. Brand new, only tumbled, hot water, dawn, and air dried, detergent, wrinkle guard, machine washed and tumbled, and then conditioner, dawn, and tumble. Now, as it goes down, the hand feel and the softness and the flop definitely goes up. That's them being broken in definitely starts with brand new and then works its way down the board. So it's really cool to see how the differences and how all the different conditions work with all 3 of those bags. So that's why I wanted to post this here. And I will post it in case anyone wants to do a deep dive. There's some Easter eggs in there that we found. That's pretty interesting too. But what, like I said before, the thing that we all know, but the thing that really makes a difference is the board conditions, vinyl versus direct print, and then the humidity and temperature. That's what really makes a difference. Coming down the values, you're going to see that they're a lot different on each page, but if you just keep going down the same thing, not as much change as there would be between the pages, between the conditions that you're doing. And this is pretty much a scale that I just kind of came up with. This would be different for every single bag that you have, but essentially it's new. Then you have tumbled and thrown only. Hot water soak and air dried, washing machine detergent, wrinkle guard and tumbled on low, conditioner, dawn soak and tumbled on low, and then at some point, this is all ways to break them in, to break in your bags. What you're doing is just getting it closer and closer to what I'm calling the bag equilibrium is. So once it gets to an equilibrium where that bag is as broken in as it's going to get, that bag being that broken in is going to last for a long time, thousands of throws, thousands and thousands of throws, and it's not going to change much. The hand feel might feel a little bit different. It may be a little bit softer or a little bit more crunchy. But after 10,000 throws, if somebody gives you a bag and says, how did I break this in? It's going to be really hard to tell exactly how somebody broke that in, 10,000, 12,000 throws ago, because it's going to be so soft and so, it's going to be floppy, and it's going to be at the flop that it's been for a long time. For probably 5,000 throws, it's going to be the same thing. So when you're breaking them in, you're just trying to get to that bag equilibrium quicker. Now, some people that only like to tumble them and like to throw them to break them in, some people like them as they're getting more and more broken in. And then when they get too floppy, it's too much for them, so they want to get rid of it. That's fine too, but there's definitely a market for people that want them that floppy, and they'll stay that way for a long time. And that's why if you buy at the secondary market and you get floppy bags, it's not the worst thing in the world, because they're going to be there for a while for you. If you like them and you get used to them that way, they're going to play pretty much the same until they become the end of their life and they're unusable, and then you're going to have fabric stretch, you're going to start losing pellets, you're going to start having blowouts and stuff like that. But that's way, way down the line. So basically when you're breaking them in, this is what it looks like. You know, you're trying to get to whatever different level that you feel comfortable. You know, and if you want to get super close, conditioner, Dawn soak, or any of the aftermarket stuff. Ultra has one. You know, they have toss sauce now, and BG's always had their BG serum. These things work very well. I would always rinse them with Dawn after I would use them. They all say that you don't have to, but I personally, I would. And even to that point, here's the ACL rules on how you can break in bags. So it says that if you're going to you can use detergent and wrinkle guard and then tumble dry. It says any other anything else that you use isn't permitted, but unless it's approved by the ACL. Now I talked to a couple of directors in the ACL and a couple of people that work in the ACL, and they said it's going to be, and just like everybody knows, it's going to be really hard for you to know exactly did you use conditioner there or did you use fabric softener? I mean, you know, if you use conditioner and didn't wash it out with Dawn, and I always recommend if you use conditioner, rinse it really well with Dawn, then rinse the Dawn out. But if you use conditioner and it's got an odor to it, is that fabric softener or conditioner? You know, I also I don't like to use conditioner with much of a smell to it either. It's just not for me. But you know, it's these things where even with these serums and whatnot, did you use a approved serum or an approved toss sauce or whatever else it might be, or you know, did you use wrinkle guard and detergent? So when it comes down to it, so long as your bags are playing essentially the same way that the manufacturer wants them to play, they're not leaving a residue, they're not destroying the boards, and you know, if you're investing in a good set of bags, you're not destroying, you know, you're not trying to do anything crazy to destroy the boards and put tack on them or anything else that you might want to, that you know is in these rules that says you can't put foreign substances on the actual bags. You know, spit on the bags or have pine tar or something like that, but you wouldn't want to do any of that stuff. And so using conditioner, it frowned upon, but you know, it works. You know, I've conditioned a lot of the bags, and it works real well. You don't want to get into any trouble. Detergent, wrinkle guard, tumble them. It gets you really close. I mean, you know, it gets you close, and then you can break it in the rest of the way, or you can get an approved. You know, one of these approved serums, or I don't want to call them conditioners, even though some people say that that's what they are. But you know, they're good products, and they would mimic what would be in this area. So they would break it in up around this area, and then you wouldn't have much to go into to reach that equilibrium. All right, so now that horse is completely beaten, that's pretty much what I'm trying to get to here. I don't know if I really related as well as I could have, but all you want to do is, if you're having a good game throwing, you're having a good day, and you go, man, everything's working well. I'm moving the bags around the board real well. They're going in the way I want them to. They're sliding nice. The slow side's working good. Fast side's working good. I really like the way that I'm throwing, and it feels really nice. Go ahead and go find out what that coefficient of friction is. Pick up the board. Get yourself the app, the Pocket Bubble app for free off the App Store, and I'm not getting paid for that. It's just what I used. Pick up the board, put some other bags or something else under it, so that you're not picking it up and it's creating another variable. Keep it solid. Okay, it's at 22 and it's really going fast. Pick it, you know, go a little bit lower, or it's at 26, it's going too fast. You go lower. At 22, it's barely moving. You pick it up. All right, now we're at, you know, whatever. We're at 25 degrees. That's where I want it to be. And so now, every single time you put your board at 25 degrees, you use different bags that you have, and whichever one slides at that same rate, that's the bag you want to use for that game. That's about it. I hope that helps somebody. That's all I'm trying to do here. I'm not sponsored by anyone. It's not what I'm in this thing for. But that's about it. So hopefully it helped you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.